highest UN body ever convened on the environment has now wrapped up in Nairobi, Kenya. For the last week, more than 1,000 environment ministers, business leaders and civil society leaders have been seeking ways to promote greener economic growth. According to a report released on Tuesday, global environmental crime is now worth more than $200 billion per year and is helping to finance terrorist groups. The report said Somalia's Al-Qaeda-linked Shabab rebels were making up to $56 million in illegal charcoal, while Ivory poaching was fueling fighting in the DRC. Well, to discuss what we've seen this week, we're now joined by the Executive Director for Greepeace Africa, OP Brien-Onyeka. Great to have you with us,
Nice
Michael.
to be here.
So this is another UN meeting, and the UN has lots of meetings, and there's also been a whole lot that's come before this on climate change. So should we be cynical or say that this is really a recognition that issues of sustainability are not just for lobby groups like yourself, but for really sustainable growth?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we can't afford to be cynical. We can only be hopeful. This is the first ever assembly on the environment chaired by the UN and convened by the UN. So it is
a big deal.
It is a very, very big deal. I mean, we've had the COPs, COP17, COP19, and so on, but this is the first time there's a United Nations Assembly on the environment. And there's over 80 government delegates, heads of states, and so on. And we are very hopeful because they are addressing also, the key thing here is that for the first time we are seeing the convergence of the nexus of social, economic, environmental in a sustainable way being looked at to see the link that we have been saying for years, that if you have runaway environmental crime, it leads to other things. And we've been saying that about logging and poaching in the DRC that is being fueling conflict. We have the same issues in the Sahel region and other parts of West Africa and East Africa. So we are very
and rhino poaching was also mentioned, which is something very crucial for
because
us.
It's a crime. It's criminal gangs involved in this and money laundering and so on. So it's an easy way for criminal gangs to source funds. And when you have porous borders, corrupt officials, and that could allow for people to come in and poach or cut charcoal or log illegally, then they thrive. So the fact that we are looking at closing that, which is good for the environment, and that's where Greenpeace is happy that it is.
The numbers that I looked at were incredible. I mean, looking at the ivory trade. Now, ivory is... not ivory, I'm thinking of the tusks, and they're illegal. But there's still masses of this changing hands and masses of money changing hands. How is it possible?
It's a huge challenge, but we need to address the issue of demand and also the issue of supply. We've been looking more at the supply side, and that's just one part of the equation. We need to address the demand, and the demand are hinged on customs and tradition, which takes a longer time to turn people around. So, for example, the average Vietnamese believes that rhino horn will make people stronger. It has a lot of, generally people in Asia, Southeast Asia, East Asia, there is no consumption in that sense of rhino horn, for example, in the continent. But unfortunately, our rhinos get poached. So we need to address the loopholes in the supply side that allows for people to cut away large tons of rhino from our continent, but also address the demand side. Why are people still persistent in pushing these traditions? And the same with shark fins and so on. So it's a huge problem that translates into environmental challenges for us.
Is this something that should be focused on? And it seemed like the attention of this UN body was a lot on these terrorism activities this week. Or is it more about governments making decisions? Like I think China can change environmental laws and make a massive impact immediately.
Yeah, you are right. China can make a big change. I mean, this way the system there runs is a central communist party, and they could just make a fiat, a decree, and ban shark fin or ban rhino. But I don't think that will solve the issue, because then the black market starts thriving. I think, like I said, the two sides, the demand and supply side, needs to work together. So civil society, organized private sector, and the state and other intergovernmental agencies like the UN needs to put their heads together and collectively say, we don't want our grandchildren to be watching rhinos on TVs or videos only, that they can't go and see it. It's a shame that in our lifetime, more than 90 species have gone extinct in our lifetime, like the way we talk about the extinction of the dinosaurs. And if this trend continues, people will not be able to see elephants, people will not be able to see rhinos, and of course it has impact on biodiversity as well.
Well, it's a discussion that will keep on going. Thank you so much for your time.
Welcome.
And that was Greenpeace's Michael Brien-Onyeka. And that is it from Business Review. I will be back with a quick business update in primetime news shortly, though. And